The Willoughbys is a 2020 Canadian-American computer-animated comedy film directed by Kris Pearn and co-directed by Rob Lodermeier and written by Pearn along with Mark Stanleigh, produced by Bron Animation and distributed by Netflix. It is based on the book of the same name by Lois Lowry. The film stars the voices of Will Forte, Martin Short, Alessia Cara, Jane Krakowski, Ricky Gervais, Maya Rudolph, Sean Cullen, and Terry Crews. The film was released on April 22, 2020 and received positive reviews from critics. The Willoughbys were once considered a proud family. However, the current generation of the family is very dysfunctional as the parents are too busy being romantically involved with each other to take care of their 4 kids, the eldest sibling Tim, who lives in a coal bin and tries to keep his siblings out of trouble, middle child Jane, a singing enthusiast who is constantly silenced by her parents, and the youngest twin boys who are both named Barnaby, both of whom are very smart and inventive but are labeled as creepy. Their misfortunes are told from the perspective of a stray blue tabby cat who talks to the audience. Soon, the siblings find a baby inside a box that was thrown outside of their gate that they name Ruth. When the parents force their kids out of the house after discovering Ruth, they leave her on the doorstep of a candy factory and the factory director, Commander Melanoff, takes Ruth in. Wanting a better life, Jane tells her siblings they should send their parents on a vacation by fabricating a brochure about traveling, when she hoped for the parents to eventually die of some natural cause, though Tim has his reservations yet still goes along with it. The parents take the bait and proceed to leave the kids to their own devices. After a few days of celebrating their freedom, they are suddenly visited by a nanny the next day due to the parents having hired her to supervise the kids, albeit she came at a cheap price. At first, the kids try to get rid of her as well, but they soon warm up to her, except for Tim. After Tim misbehaves, the nanny tries to put him in timeout, but soon learns of what happened to Ruth. She goes to Melanoff's factory to confront him and retrieve Ruth, and after chasing Ruth through some conveyor belts, the kids, Melanoff, and the nanny all get to know each other well. Meanwhile, the parents manage to survive the disasters, though their guides are not so fortunate, and when they get short on cash, they use the internet to sell their house in order to continue their vacation and inform the nanny to get rid of their kids. Tim learns of this and, believing the nanny is just as bad as their parents, calls orphan services to report her, and he and his siblings get rid of all the potential buyers that soon line up to buy the house. They nearly fail to scare off a joyous family, but the nanny scares them off and finally convinces Tim that she means well. However, orphan services arrive at the house and try to take the kids. The head of the services recognizes the nanny, who she calls Linda, and reveals that she is an orphan herself who never found a family who wanted her. When it's revealed that Tim called them, Linda leaves in tears and Jane angrily denounces Tim as they are taken away and separated to individual homes. The Barnabys are taken in by a family with electronics, Jane's adopted by musical hippies, and Tim keeps running away from his foster homes and soon ends up at the Orphan Services Center in a prison cell, and the Willoughby mansion is destroyed. The cat stops a bus that Linda is on and has carried Tim's signature helmet to convince her to reunite them. She does so, with Tim apologizing to Jane, and while on the run, Tim suggests that they get their parents back in order for orphan services to leave them alone, despite how much their kids hate them. Reluctantly agreeing to this, the kids get help from Melanoff to construct a giant candy-fueled dirigible to get to Switzerland, where their parents are, and planning to climb a giant dangerous mountain. The kids take the dirigible without Linda, and when they arrive at Switzerland, they find a trail of their mom's yarn and soon discover their parents are about to freeze to death near the mountain's top. After saving them, the kids confess that they sent them away, and Tim gives a passionate speech about how, despite how selfish the parents are, they are still family. Just as the parents look like they'll change for the better, they heartlessly shove their kids out of the way and take the dirigible, but their lack of driving expertise caused them to crash the dirigible in the mountain's top and flies out of control over the horizon, most likely killing them. Just as the kids soon resign themselves to being frozen with Jane singing through it, Ruth, Linda, and Melanoff save them, and the kids tell them what happened to their parents. Linda and Melanoff decide to adopt the kids, and they all move to the candy factory as a loving family. Before the credits, it's shown that Mr. and Mrs. Willoughby have survived the dirigible crash and are, as always, enjoying each other's company while floating on the debris, but their luck finally ends when they are soon devoured by a shark. After the credits, it shows the cat licking, and when he notices the audience, he tries to defend himself. In November 2015, Bron Studios acquired the animated film rights to the Lois Lowry's book The Willoughbys, and hired Kris Pearn to adapt into a screenplay with Adam Wood to direct the film, with Aaron L. Gilbert and Luke Carroll producing. 3. In April 2017, Ricky Gervais was cast in the film to lead the voice, and it was reported that Pearn would co-direct the film with Corey Evans. 4. In June 2017, more were cast to the film, included Terry Crews, Maya Rudolph, Martin Short, Jane Krakowski, and Sean Cullen. 5. Will Forte and Alessia Cara also provided their voices, with Netflix now set to distribute the film. 6. As of November 2018, the film was still in production at the Bron Animation studio in Burnaby, British Columbia. 6. The characters in the film were designed by character designer Craig Kelman, who designed the characters for DreamWorks Animation's Madagascar and Sony Pictures Animation's Hotel Transylvania, as well as Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer's The Addams Family. The music in the film was composed and conducted by Mark Mothersbaugh.